good to go? Excellent.
The technology is working.
Fantastic. Excellent. So welcome to this evening's live Facebook event for Flexible Fostering. I'm Vicky Barnes. I work for the Placements Hub in Warwickshire. And this is...
I'm Rebecca Clifford. I'm Team Manager for Fostering, Recruitment and Assessment in Warwickshire and Training as well. So welcome.
So tonight's event is essentially to talk through a new way of working and a new way of working in Warwickshire, which is essentially looking to recruit carers right across the board from different sort of avenues to look at how we can offer a flexible offer for children and young people in Warwickshire. So hopefully you've come to the right place, and hopefully the technology will continue to work. So please feel free to ask questions as we go through tonight. There should be comments that you can pop in there, and we'll endeavour to answer the questions as they come up. But bear with us. If we don't get to answer any questions, we'll signpost you at the end of the event. So that's brilliant. I'm going to pass over to Rebecca now to talk through, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, about fostering in Warwickshire. So just to talk to you a little bit about the way we do things in Warwickshire and how fostering sort of looks for us at the moment. We have 2 fostering teams that cover the whole of Warwickshire to offer support and guidance in supporting children and you as a foster carer with children in your care. We have an emergency duty team who are available in evenings and weekends to provide backup support. And we also have the foster carer support line who are available to give advice and guidance out of hours. So there's a lot of support for foster carers out, past 5:30 basically. So there's plenty there for you. In terms of fostering for Warwickshire, there's many benefits because we are a local authority. So primarily we try to place Warwickshire children with Warwickshire foster carers and use those resources first. So it's more likely that you'll have a child in your care and less likely to have gaps or unexpected gaps that you'd rather not, and that actually you're having as many children in and helping as many children as possible through your fostering career. We provide above the national average allowances for foster carers, so we are quite competitive in our fostering rates, and that goes along with fostering network recommendations. So if you do have any further questions about that, we can provide, you can contact us on the website or via Facebook for any answers regarding finances. We have a huge range of training. I would say this is one of the real benefits to fostering for Warwickshire because of the massive raft of provision that we have available. So we provide, there's 6 core trainings that we ask you to undertake, which are really about you understanding your role and that role of how you maintain a child in your care and how you meet fostering standards. So things around child protection and how to record, that kind of stuff. We also have a huge raft of sort of professional development training. So if you have a child with a specific need, then we can find the right training for you to get you on there and to make sure you're prepared. And I think for flexible fostering, really we'd be talking about managing behaviours and about managing endings and supporting children to transition. So we do have a huge range of trainings that would be suitable for you if you were interested in flexible fostering. I think the other part of it is that some of it is live, so you get to meet other foster carers, and then some of it is virtual, so you can do it in your own time or online, so you don't necessarily have to be in a certain place at a certain time to do that training. So it's really flexible in terms of if you are working full time and would like to still do some training, we have that available. And we also accredit training from other providers. So where you work in a school, for example, and have already done child protection, we can accredit that within our training scheme. So for us, we feel like there is a massive support package, and I think a lot of that comes with our fostering support workers and the support from the hub and that working relationship. Whereas for some agencies, there isn't that connection between Warwickshire's children's teams and the fostering team, whereas for us, we all work under one roof and have that communication. So I think, again, if you're looking at flexible fostering, you've got less of those communication issues where there might be a gap between your worker and the placement hub. So we have a lot of communication internally with that. So there's loads of benefits to this type of fostering, to fostering for very short periods and having those good working relationships in-house. So when we're talking about how we're matching and about flexible fostering, we'd be thinking about making sure everybody gets that appropriate match and that we're meeting. And I'll just pass on to Vicky as we're talking about meeting needs and what we're looking for when we're talking about flexible fostering.
Thanks, Rebecca. So in Placements Hub, every single child that needs a new home comes through our department, our division, and at the moment we've got around 820 young people who are children in care in Warwickshire. They're not all in fostering. Some of those are in residential settings, some of those are in supported accommodation settings, or might be in a parent and child setting. But we have a vast majority of those are in the fostering sort of arena. So what we have on a daily basis is we have what we call our emergency same-day placement. So they're children that come into the placement hub. They're not necessarily known to us, but an incident might have happened, or they need emergency care. During holiday periods, so summer holidays, half terms, Christmas, and weekends, pressures build in families, and we know that can build. So they're the times that we're really looking to build our capacity. We're not saying to somebody, you have to be available 52 weeks of the year. We're not saying you need to be available 7 days a week. What we're looking for is those people that might be able to offer a couple of weekends a month, or maybe help out in the summer holidays, or have a spare bedroom and actually you're able to just provide that level of support for somebody, but on an ad hoc basis. We're not talking necessarily about long-term care, although if you want to offer that, then obviously that's always an opportunity. And it's incredible where we sometimes go out a little bit on a limb and the matching doesn't look perfect. Sometimes they're the magical moments where actually the child and the foster carer gel in real life, and that becomes something a bit more permanent, a bit more long term. So I think those initial introductions are really important, and the matching is important, and we wouldn't expect carers to go over and above what that matching looks like. But sometimes meeting people in real life is a very different experience. So what we're looking for is, during our really high demand times, we're looking for people that can offer respite. They can offer short periods of care, where it might just be we need to do a little bit of piece of work with a teenager and maybe the family, but they can't do it while they're living under the same roof. So just providing that bit of breathing space for the child and for the family can very often bring the family back together. And ultimately, we want families to remain together, we want families to stay together, and if they need a period apart, we want to get them back again together. So this is what we're looking for. Our high frequency age group is sort of those children at 8+. Thankfully, we don't have a great number of babies coming into care, which is brilliant. But we do occasionally have a need to accommodate a baby or a younger child, and sometimes we are looking for just a short period of time again. But particularly, it's the 8+, the 8 to 18-year-old age group that we really are looking to hopefully recruit to, looking after. What we look for those people are individuals that like children, that want to have fun, want to encourage sort of family time, so want to play board games, want to get kids out playing in the garden, want to encourage those children to do fun things, things that families want to do together and that maybe some of those children might not have experienced or might want to, are craving for really. So they're the kind of opportunities that we're looking for. And if you're working with children during the day and you enjoy being with teenagers and enjoy having that sort of rapport, this is kind of what we're looking for really. So it's people that are invested in children, people that are invested in making that child's life better. So that's why we're reaching out to our colleagues that work in schools, working in sort of the academic sort of areas, so that you do have a little bit more breathing space during those high intensity areas and times that we're looking for. So yeah, if you're interested, please let us know and please come forward.
Yeah, I think it's important to consider that we may have in the past, if you've been interested in fostering in the past, we may have said no due to flexibility and availability. So this is a change for us. This is about being flexible and considering what people have got to offer, and matching that to our children, young people. So where some people we may have said no to an inquiry previously, it might be that contact us now and we can be that little bit more flexible. We understand that the commitment is still there, because actually caring for vulnerable children and young people is still a really important task. But I think there's a lot of people out there that have that time and capacity, that little extra spare time to commit, like Vicky said, once a month for a weekend in the school holidays. and just be there for our children and young people and provide them that love and connection. It might be while we're trying to find another place for them to go, or to give that foster carer that breathing space. It'll be brilliant to hear from you. So I think if I just talk you through a little bit of a process that we'd go through, so if you were interested in fostering and specifically flexible fostering, you can go on our website, and that's fostering.warwickshire.gov.uk/flexible fostering if you want to look at flexible fostering. But you could also inquire now on any part of the Warwickshire County Council fostering website. You could also send us an email or send us a private message on our Facebook account should you wish. We would get back in touch with you, ask you a couple of questions, send you out some further information, and if everybody's happy, we'd come out and do an initial visit just to gather some more content from you about why you're interested in fostering and what we could do to get you to the right point, or what training you might need to support you. We'd then go through a fostering assessment, which roughly from the process of you showing interest, we'd be looking at about a 5-month turnaround. And if we felt like it could be a bit quicker, we really work with you and work with your flexibility and availability to come and visit you in the evenings, if possible, to come out and do that assessment with you. It does involve some homework. It's about making sure you're safe to proceed, and I think that's really important in our fostering assessments. It's all about safeguarding and making sure that recruitment is safe for our children and young people. So although it might feel rigorous, it's to meet standards. We then go through the approval, so that's going to a panel of independent professionals who approve your assessment, and then we move into you being an approved foster carer and working with the placement hub and your fostering social worker, who will come out and give you supervision and support you and guide you as you go through your fostering career. So it may sound a lot, it may sound heavy, and in some places it is. I'm not going to make this a light process, but it's absolutely with a view that on the other end we've got the right people to look after children, that they have the skills to do so, and then that we can support you with the children and young people to give them a happy and fruitful life to go on to be secure and stable adults is what we're trying to achieve here. So I think we've got some questions coming in. Let me just check what we've got coming out. How long does the application process take? So like I just said, I think really we'd be looking at 4 to 5 months. It really does depend on the complexity and the challenges that you've been through in your life. We do seek references from people that you're involved with, from your employers, especially if you work in social care. We speak to 2 friends, 1 family member to get their view on you. Again, this is all about safer recruitment. We do a DBS check and a GP medical, and then again that's about gathering information about yourselves. Let's see, is there any more questions coming in? So in terms of properties, 1-bed flat, is there a way round this? So we do, I think when, like Vicky was saying, we don't have lots of babies coming in, and if you don't have a spare room, we wouldn't be looking for you to go and sleep in a living room or anything like that. Really, we'd be looking at you only having up to 2-year-olds, would you say? Yeah, it'd be 0 to 2-year-olds. If you can share a room, then that would be suitable. If there is a spare room, you've got a spare office or something like that could be converted into a bedroom, and you want to prioritise that, then obviously we could reassess. But anybody 2+ really needs their own bedrooms. Yeah. So again, that'd be coming down to your skills and your availability to be able to have an under 2, because really you do need to be available for them. But it's not to say that through this sort of flexible fostering scheme that wouldn't be a thing. But it'd be more unlikely for babies. But absolutely, if you were looking at mainstream fostering, we'd definitely look at doing that now, because again, like we're saying, we're trying to be a bit more flexible to try and meet the needs of children and young people coming into care at the moment. The other thing just on that is if you did just have 1 spare room and you wanted sibling groups, we do have a number of sibling groups that come through. The bigger your house, obviously the more siblings you can take, and sometimes we have sibling groups up to 5 or 6. So if you've got that sort of space and that capacity, then obviously
we wouldn't encourage having more than 3 children at any one time, but actually, if you've got space, we could look at that sort of level of approval as well.
Mm-hmm. One we've got here, do I have to live in the county? You don't have to live in Warwickshire. We do look at surrounding areas, and specifically for our schemes carers who might be caring for a child on a salaried basis, but also when we're talking about flexible fostering, as long as you're willing to do some driving and be sort of willing to get a child where they need to be, or to do some of that journey, then there's no reason why we can't consider people outside of the county. I think you have to be realistic about a child is from Warwickshire and will need to get to and from wherever that current situation they're in is. But it's not to say that it's not something we wouldn't assess, so absolutely get in touch if you are interested.
And Warwickshire borders so many different counties that actually sometimes if you live in Leicestershire, you might be closer to Nuneaton than if you live in Warwickshire or whatever. So yeah, absolutely, it's kind of about that matching again. And we wouldn't recommend children having a long trip to school or having a long trip for family time, but actually it can be manageable sometimes. So, yeah,
definitely. Let me see if there's anything else. Any more questions, please send them in.
So just to go back through what flexible fostering is all about, just for those people that maybe didn't join until the middle of the way through, what we're looking for is foster carers that can come and join Warwickshire County Council, that are committed to hopefully a big age span of dealing with different children, so 0 to 18, but preferably the sort of the older age groups, the 8 to 18 is our high intensity area, and we're looking for those very busy times where we know family breakdowns happen, so school holidays, weekends, half terms, times of pressure for everybody really. So that's the what this is targeted towards. But if you're interested in 52-week-a-year fostering, mainstream fostering, or even are interested in things like emergency fostering, that kind of thing, then please get in touch and we'll talk to you about the different options that we've got on offer in Warwickshire.
Yeah, just to revisit that question, yes, you can apply with the 1-bedroom flat, but again, it would have to be you'd be caring for children under 2, and probably only 1 child. So that would be where you'd be applying for. But by all means, fill in an inquiry form. We can talk to that on a sort of more personal basis, because obviously it depends on a lot. I've got here both members of a couple would need to undertake checks, DBS, but would they both need to undertake training? That's a really good question. So both foster carers, both applicants or both adult members of a household are assessed to become foster carers. So they need to have all the checks, they need to complete the assessment, and on the other end, in terms of training commitment, it's you need to complete 6 trainings within the first 2 years and then 2 every year following that. So it may feel like that sounds a lot, but that includes online training, it includes some of our core trainings that you have to do, and it includes virtual training. So there are other opportunities. And ultimately, it's about learning about what fostering is, learning some of the skills that are involved. So there's a lot to be taken from it. You get to meet other foster carers who are able to inform you about your journey and give you advice. So for me, it's a super positive aspect. So yes, both members have to be participate in training, but I think it's less daunting when you get involved when you're further down the track, whereas when you're just inquiring, it may feel quite frightening to have to go back to learning again. But actually, it's a really supportive environment, and that we're there to support you and help you rather than frighten you off with lots of training.
And I think it's fair to say that there's kind of different times of the day that you're for training as well. So it's not all 9 to 5 or daytime stuff. And obviously, if we have a big influx of people that work full time, then we'll kind of accommodate those needs. So don't think you need to give up days and leave and stuff like that. There's obviously opportunities for us to do training outside of core hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just look, see if there's any more questions coming in. I think it's important to remember that we have people, we have a duty worker who is available for talking through individual queries every day. So there's someone on our email, running our duty programme. So if you call the number on the website, send in an email, do an inquiry, we'll get back to you and talk about those individual issues, as opposed to needing to worry about it. It wouldn't go against you if we say, actually, at the moment it's not right for you, but come back whenever. Absolutely, that's fine. I think we've had a question about what happens if I'm pregnant and maybe I'd like to become a foster carer. I think what we'd look for in any kind of big life change is that we're looking for stability in our foster carers. So it might be that we wait a certain amount of time until after the baby's born, because it's tough, and we want to make sure that you're in the right position to foster. However, we do have foster carers who are approved to have babies when they're pregnant, who have babies and go on to continue fostering. So it's not a big no, it's just about any big life event being stable on the other end of it, really. So having a baby is just one of those bigger issues. Okay. Yeah, we've got... will my employers give me extra annual leave? Absolutely. Well, for Warwickshire, we are a fostering friendly employer. So we provide 5 extra days annual leave per year to be able to give you that chance to complete the assessment and to be able to participate in fostering training.
I think that's just county council, isn't it? But whether that extends out to schools...
There is the fostering friendly accreditation that other people can comply with and that sign up to that scheme. Brilliant. So you can check with your employer. I think it's important to talk to your employer if you are interested in moving forward, because we would be seeking an employment reference, and it also depends on the type of fostering you're doing. Hopefully with flexible fostering, it'd be outside of your working hours and you'd be available. I would hope. But yeah, really, it's something to talk to your employer about, because it is a demanding task, and we want to make sure that you're fully supported in all aspects of your life to do so. How many families do the supporting social workers have each? It really does depend, because it depends on capacity and if there's lots of connected persons carers as well that they support, but we'd hope around 15 families each is what we'd be looking at. So it's not an overload for our fostering social workers, so that they can come out and be available for you. We also have family support workers who are there to offer that support. So it's a full raft of support that we try to offer from all those aspects. So when I'm talking about training, it's just one of those lines of support that backs up your supervising social worker. And I think our supervising social workers are county-wide, so you will get one that lives probably closer to where you are, so that they are more available and on hand to give you that support when you need it. But also remember, the children's teams are throughout Warwickshire, and we have that good working relationship with them as well. And
we're really trying to build up stability in placements as well. So like Rebecca said, the foster care support line is available every night up till 12 midnight. It's available all weekend, again, and that's just a phone call into a trained social worker who answers any queries, and if we need to escalate it, then we do so. We've also got a wraparound service that's fairly new as well, so where placements are going into potential crisis, they're able to come in, do work with the child young person, but also with the foster carers as well, to try and keep those children stable, which again, for flexible fostering, that might be an add-on that we might offer a little bit of respite where replacement is going a bit shaky.
Absolutely.
And we need that support. So there is an awful lot of support out there.
And I would say that's a real shift for us, in that we are trying to give that opportunity for our foster carers to have that breathing space and give that stability to placements, and why this kind of flexible fostering is really important for us. And I think that's, again, agencies don't necessarily have that backup to offer that. Are pay scales in line with agency pay scales? Well, it really does depend. Again, that's something you could probably talk to us about individually, and we're happy to provide that information. Our pay scales are above the national average. And we have a skills level 1 and skills level 2 associated scheme. But if you're transferring from an agency, we'd look at your skills and your capacity and what you're bringing to Warwickshire, and see if we could look at and how that matches with our pay scales. So it's not to say to say that you wouldn't be able to have competitive rates. And allowances are the same, whether you're an agency or Warwickshire, because allowances are set by the council anyway. So it'd be more about those skills level payments that you'd be interested in finding out about. And you can absolutely get in touch regarding that. Let's have a look, see if you've got any more. I think we've gone through a fair amount of questions there.
We'll keep looking at the questions over the next sort of 24 hours anyway, so keep the questions coming in. If there's anything else that you think of later in the day, then we'll answer back to you as soon as, or we'll personal message you back.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely fine.
Absolutely. You can complete the inquiry on the website, like I think it's already linked in the chat. So you just click on our website and there's the inquiry button there, and one of our team members would get back to you as soon as we can, probably tomorrow, to get your brochure out and have that chat with you, just to explore some of your thoughts and ideas about moving forward. So again, today was talking about flexible fostering, talking about how those opportunities for people who work full-time or don't have that capacity to commit full-time to fostering, and would be able to offer care and accommodation to a child who needs it, as in a respite or an emergency situation, on weekends and through school holidays. So again, this is a new exciting thing for Warwickshire, and we hope that you can be on board or get in touch in one of our platforms as soon as possible. The recording of this will remain on our Facebook, so if you are interested you can revisit. So I've just got a question that says there, if you're interested, can you do it for the weekend? I think that was said. On a perhaps not a day trip, where I think we'd be looking for overnight accommodation here. Yeah, and absolutely, when they're with you, you could absolutely take them out and about. You know, it's your time to manage that child when they're with you. And
we give, if it is for weekends, on an emergency basis, we give activity money. So those sort of things, you won't be out of pocket for the extra charge.
Yeah, you'd be getting those allowances with that. So you'd definitely be able to take the children out and about and have those adventures that you would like to do, and give them those opportunities. So that's a really good question, I think, to wrap up on.
Yeah.
So we're recruiting for all sorts of carers. So although tonight's about flexible fostering, if you are interested, please get in touch, because we have lots of children who are waiting for the right carer, and the demand is as high as it's been, really. We are really in a position where we would take inquiries and talk to you about how we can make sure that the right fostering option is available for you, and how we can make that work. My team are ready to assess you, so if you're interested and ready to go, we'll be in touch as soon as we can. Anything else to add?
No, I think that's great.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll be in touch.
Yeah, and hope to hear from you soon. Okay.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.